Hi all, John here, also known as Hubby. Just a quick demonstration, another little tutorial. I'm going to show you how to make a pop-out flower, a bit like here in the screen. Now I had trouble getting my head around this myself, so I want to share with a few tricks and a few tips and ways to do this petal flower pop-out design. So what we need to do, go to Cricut Design Space, and then we've got a blank sheet here. And what we need to do, start off with a basic shape of a circle. One circle, there it is, pop it there. Now what we're going to do, we're not going to touch any of these settings. We're going to leave it as it is, and what we're going to do is highlight it, and then we're going to click on duplicate over here on the right hand side, duplicate. Now we've got two circles exactly the same size. Now what we need to do, just overlap, just a little bit, just overlap the circle like that. Again, like I said in other videos, not quite sure if it's in the center, so what I want to do, drag a box around it, go to a line, click on horizontally, and I know that they're now in the center. So now they're both highlighted, both circles are highlighted. We're going to slice it down here, bottom right hand corner, click on slice. There we go. Now what we do, go back up to the circle, and I want you to just quickly drag the layers away. Okay, now we're going to get rid of these three bits here. We don't need these. So now we're left with an arc. There it is. Now we're going to unlock the arc so we can manipulate it to the shape of a petal. Now if you don't unlock it, all you're going to be able to do is make it bigger or smaller. So left and right on your mouse pad, as you're not going to be able to do anything else apart from that. So what we're going to do is we're going to unlock it, and what we're going to do is we're going to drag it down. There we go. So that is a basic petal, if you like. Now the black bit that you can see, this is the bit that's going to be cut out. The white bit is your petal. Okay, so we'll make it a little bit wider. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make our flower. So highlight the first one, and then go over to the duplicate over here. I want you to duplicate it 3 times. So now you've got 4 petals. I'm just going to click and drag these over here. I want to show you another little trick. Now there is 2 ways of doing this. Now you can click and drag, and we're going to rotate it. You can use the little button here at the top, or at the top here you'll see rotate. Now what we're going to do, just click on 45 degrees, enter. Now that petal there is at a 45-degree angle. Let's get the second one. Now this time we're going to go 90 degrees. Click enter. There we go. Perfect. Now this one, we're going to drag it over this side. Now what we're going to do with this one is we're going to go back up to rotate, and we're going to put minus 45. There we go. Now this is where a couple of tricks and tips are going to come in handy. What we're going to do is that's half of our flower. Now we could go back, duplicate a few more, and we could do it all manually. Or what you can do is you can highlight all 4 petals, go over to the right hand side here. Now just group these, just group them together. Now that means now that when we click on any one of these, they're all 4, and we can move all 4 around at the same time. Now what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate these 4 here. So we're just going to go over here, they're highlighted, click on duplicate. Now you can see I'm going to click on one, and there we go. So now we've got 2 exactly the same. Now what we need to do is they're not quite right. We need to flip them. So at the top here you've got flip, little black arrow. I want you to flip it vertically. Still doesn't look quite right because that one there, look, there's 2 the same there on the right hand side. So leaving it highlighted and they're still grouped together, I want you to flip it horizontally. Now move it, and there we go. Now you can see your flower is sort of coming together. Now we've got 2 groups of petals. Now what we're going to do is we're now going to ungroup them. So first one, highlight it, ungroup. We're now, each time you click on a petal, it's going to just do 1 at a time. We're going to do the same at the bottom as well. We're going to ungroup it. So there is our flower. Looks okay, but it's not perfect, it's not right. What we need to do is we need to move all these petals to make it so they're all roughly the same. Now what I've done is I found a trick that I found myself actually as it goes. I'm going to go to shapes on the left hand side here. I'm going to add a circle. Now I'm going to use the top petal, this petal here. I'm going to use this as my guide. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the circle so that the arc of the circle here touches the bottom bit of this petal. Okay, so it's just touching there. What I want to do then is I'm going to go around each petal individually, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it so that both of the petals, both of the edges of the petals touch the circle. Okay, quite simple, quite easy. You're just going to go around each petal, and you're just going to, you might have to move it to the left or the right a little bit, in or out a little bit. Like this one here needs to come out quite a bit. Look, there we go. So just touching the circle. Now what we don't want to do is we don't want to be adjusting the angle of the petals, because this one is a mirror of this one at the top here is a mirror of the bottom one, etc, etc. So we're just going to move them in so that the edges of the petals at the bottom there are going to touch the edge of the circle. Last one, so edge of the circle. Now that looks pretty good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this circle away. We don't need this circle, so we're going to move it out of the way. Now you will see that all of those petals are roughly in line with each other. Now what's very important about this pop-up flower is that these edges here on each one of the petals nearest the center, what's important is that they do not touch each other. If they touch, they're not, the Cricut machine is just going to cut the whole thing out as an arc, and you won't have this gap. Now you need this gap to be able to fold the white bits into the middle. Okay, so we know that they are roughly about right. So what we're going to do, we're going to just make it look a little bit more decorative. Now we're going to just shrink the size of the circle there. Now you could add a heart if you wanted to. Go to shapes, go to a heart. You don't have to download anything. It's all, so you know, they're all free. They're all put in. Let's use the heart. I like the heart. Now what I'm going to do to make it a little bit easier as well, remember we use the group feature. I want you to highlight all of the petals like so. And then what I want you to do, group them together. Now it means that if you click on any one of these petals, the whole group, and it doesn't get out of line. Well worth knowing that one, so I like that one. Now keep them grouped together, grab your heart and pop it there. Now I'm not quite sure if it's in the middle or not. It looks pretty middle, but what we'll do, just to be on the safe side, is we'll highlight, click and drag a box around it, go to align, click on center. There you go, the heart is in the center. Now what's worth knowing as well is that if we was to go to make it, we've finished our petals, so these white bits are going to fold up, the black bits are going to be cut out, leaving a gap, so you've got a gap. Okay, now what's worth noting, if I was to just go make it now, right, you'll see that it's going to cut all the petals individually, so all that work of putting them in to the right places and all that would be wasted, so cancel that. What we're going to do is we're going to click and drag a box around all the petals and the heart, and then what we're going to do is we're going to attach on the bottom right hand corner, attach it there, and then you'll see that there all the petals, all the heart moves around. If you go to make it now, it will be one petal, one flower. There we go, on one cutting board there as well. So very handy to know that one as well. Now we've got the shape, so we can now adjust the shape to the size that we want. Again, it's well, the way we've designed it, if you get it to the shape that you want, just want to make sure, just zoom in, use the zoom on the bottom left hand corner there, just zoom in, make sure none of these points here are touching each other. If they are touching, then unfortunately you're not going to be able to get the pop out flower. Anyway, that is the little tutorial for this pop out flower. I hope it helps. Feel free to comment. Enjoy.